You are listening to the best podcast on the air right now on Thursdays. It is Random Topic Thursdays with Gavin Richard Presents. Whoever you are, wherever you are, I hope you are blessed and doing safe. And now our host, Brother Gavin Richard. All right, what's up, everybody? Welcome to another edition of Gavin Richard Presents. We got our guest on, and if you know we got our guest on, like Shawn James or Brother King BJ, you know that it is Random Topic Thursdays, our hot and heavy podcast, the only hot and heavy podcast on Thursday nights, the Thursday Night Smackdown. We're going to be talking a host of things, including Biden's new task force to protect AAPI community. In fact, giving monies to those groups. We're also going to be talking about his calls for tougher gun control. He announced earlier today. Also with us, we got a topic that is trending that I like to talk about that is going on is in regards to DeShaun Watson. Now, of course, I've covered this before about DeShaun Watson, but DeShaun Watson made some news today because he actually, or through his lawyer, Rusty Hardin, has finally filed a motion for asking the court to publish the names of, or at least release the names of one of the accusers who is accusing him of sexual assault. And so, ladies and gentlemen, if you're tuning in, this, as you know, this is Gavin Richard Presents. Random Topic Thursdays begins right now. We'll be right back after this little break. Excuse me, I think we have a problem. There's some music that's supposed to play as I go on my break. Apparently, I'm having a little trouble. All right. Excuse me 1 second. Hold on. Wasn't supposed to do that. Smash up the likes, please, if you're tuning in. Donate to the Cash App, to the Google Pay, and the PayPal, gavin.grich1 gmail.com. We are back. We're back. And let me see if I can get on right now. Stop the camera. Whoa, there we are. How we doing tonight? Ladies and gentlemen, of course, welcome to another episode. I have to acknowledge, do a few housekeeping things. Let me just say I want to thank everyone to my new subscribers that have tuning in. Although YouTube has kind of taken my subscribers off, but we keep growing and growing, and people are paying attention more and more. So thank you all for tuning in. And of course, let's now welcome our special guest. As always, let's welcome Brother Shawn James. Shawn, how you doing tonight?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing great, my friend. I'm doing good. And of course, we have Shawn. I was about to introduce Bernard, but Shawn, of course, is the author, as you know, of the latest book, John Haynes, Taking Care of Business. It's a long-running series that he has been doing for a few years. He also is the author of The Man Crisis. You all can tune into his YouTube channel on self-entitled Shawn James. And Shawn, of course, that book is out on Amazon, has actually gotten some double-digit sales, or I'm sure it's surpassed that right now.
Yes, it's gotten double-digit sales, and I'm trying to get the numbers higher on John Haynes Taking Care of Business. And I'm also trying to get the sales up on a new ISIS series book, ISIS Revenge of the Cyber Goddess, which is available for pre-order on Kindle and available in paperback right now.
Yes, please. We got to do this for Shawn so he can finally get a vacation. I don't think our brother has had one it's been a long time, huh, Shawn?
Yeah, it's been about 12 years. And so I'm trying to get to the point where I can have enough sales and money coming in so that I can take that break and really recharge.
Right. And of course, we know who this gentleman is. He is beneath the screen right there is our brother Bernard. You know him from his channel, King BJ. And he also has, he makes guest appearances with me as a contributor to the Judge Joe Brown show that's hosted by Valerie Denise Jones. How you doing, Bernard?
Doing all right, brother. How you doing today? And Shawn, of course.
I'm all right, Bernard.
All right. We're doing fine.
Crazy world, brothers.
All right. Well, let's get into the craziness that goes on. I want to start with this right now because this has been some breaking news. Earlier, it was announced, I believe within 24 hours ago, that, or a few hours ago, that DeShaun Watson has filed his first motion in court. For those that don't know what's going on, DeShaun Watson has been accused by at least 22 massage therapists. It's gone to 22 because another one, I think, as of yesterday, filed a claim or another suit against DeShaun Watson, claiming sexual misconduct of inappropriate behavior while he's getting a massage at his home. Various stories, of course, some women sound all the same, and some stories, some may ring and some don't. But they're all represented, or at least most of them are represented by an attorney by the name of Tony Busby, who has made these claims. And DeShaun Watson is represented by one Rusty Harding. These are two prominent attorneys out of Houston, Texas. Harding, of course, he has maintained that his client is innocent. A lot of people don't know this too, but Rusty Harding actually represented, I believe, Anna Nicole, was involved in that Anna Nicole Smith litigation when she married that old billionaire. And I believe he got a sizable verdict for her in that matter. If I'm not mistaken, that was him. But Rusty Harding, you can look it up. He is almost 80 years old. Yeah, he represented, he represented J. Howard Marshall's estate. So he did not. So let me correct that. He's also represented Victoria Osteen. But more specifically for us, there's just some information on Rusty. But here, Rusty has stated that, and this is coming from KHOU 11. He is alleging that he has filed a motion demanding that the names of 20 women who are suing him for allegations ranging from exposure to sexual assault be released Two of the women, Ashley Solis and Lauren Baxley, went public earlier this week sharing their stories of alleged encounters with Watson, while others have simply came forward anonymous as Jane Doe's. Before you guys chime in, I want to play everyone an audio clip. I don't know what happened right there. This is the audio clip from KULL.
In other top stories, DeShaun
Before
Watson.
I begin, let me just say this is fair use under the United States Act of 1976, Fair Use Copyright Act. Is being shared only for news and educational purposes.
Attorney today filing a motion to learn the identities of all 22 women suing the Texans quarterback. They allege sexual misconduct. Watson's attorney, Rusty Hardin, saying that anonymous lawsuits violate Texas law and fairness. Earlier, Arlen Cannon spoke to a massage therapist not involved in those lawsuits who had worked with Watson for 2.5 years.
No, DeShaun Watson has never asked me for any sexual favor. He's never harassed me. He's never coerced me into doing anything at all. He's always been super quiet. The only conversation that we've ever actually have had, like during a session, usually I am the one initiating the conversation.
You can watch part 2 of this exclusive interview tonight at 10 right here on KHOU 11.
All right, so that's actually the one of the therapists. Let's talk about her experience with DeShaun Watson. Of course, this is another person who's come
Tonight,
forward.
DeShaun Watson's lawyers are pushing back after one of his accusers comes forward.
So far, 22 women, mostly licensed massage therapists, have filed lawsuits against the Texans quarterback, accusing him of sexual assault or harassment. Now, we didn't know the identity of any of the women until today, when the first to file a civil suit against Watson spoke out at a news conference. Lauren Tallarico reports on what she said, and Lauren, at times, she became quite emotional.
Yeah, during a tearful press conference, she talked about how difficult this has all been for her, and she insisted this is not about money. But Watson's lawyers disagree.
I am a survivor of assault and harassment.
She's no longer Jane Doe #1, but Ashley Solis.
DeShaun Watson is my assaulter and my harasser.
She was the first to file a lawsuit against the Texan star, claiming sexual assault, and now the first to come forward.
I feel a range of emotions: guilt, embarrassment, shame. Some days I feel like a hero. Other days I feel like a failure.
The licensed massage therapist says the assault happened here in her home, and that Watson reached out to her on Instagram.
I blame myself at times, which is insane.
It's very unusual for a woman to come forward.
KHOU legal analyst Carmen Rowe.
Was today's press conference damning for DeShaun Watson?
Absolutely. I mean, hearing from a victim of a
like
sexual
Michael
assault
Jackson.
is powerful evidence that every single potential juror out there
No
heard today.
disrespect to
People
Michael.
say that I'm doing this just for money. That is false. This is about having my voice heard.
Shortly after Solis said that, DeShaun Watson's attorneys released emails from 2 months ago that show she demanded $100,000 to settle.
Does that do anything for her credibility in this case?
I think it has to. I mean, it's inconsistent with what she told us today.
Solis wasn't the only woman to speak out today. A massage therapist named Lauren Baxley, who tells a similar story, allowed a letter she'd written to Watson to be read out loud.
I am furious that the talented and hardworking young Black man that gave so many children inspiration is nothing more than a predator with power.
Watson has denied the
Y'all heard that?
allegations.
The young Black man. Whoa, what did that have to do with that?
This wasn't the only woman to speak out today.
Let's
A
rewind it.
massage therapist named Lauren Baxley, who tells a similar story, allowed a letter she'd written to Watson to be read out loud.
I am furious that the talented and hardworking young Black man that gave so many children inspiration is nothing more than a predator with power.
Watson has denied the allegations. Last week, when Solis filed a criminal complaint with HPD, his lawyer said they welcomed that development.
That was Lauren Tallarico reporting for us. New developments continue to come out, and we are staying on top of it all. You can head to KHOU.com or our KHOU 11 YouTube page to watch Ashley Solis' full statement and to read Watson's attorney's statement.
All right. Now, before we get into it, guys, because there's a little more I want to share with you all, I gotta say this because I think I did this before. We talked about when you were on, Shawn, last week, because we read the statements, read the article about the 18 women who were masseuses that actually stated nothing but positive things about DeShaun Watson, and contrasting that with the stuff that we've seen here. Yes, you're all right, Tyree. What's up, brother? This is the same tactics they've used in the Bill Cosby case. But I gotta say this: you guys cannot trust these, even the ESPN and the Fox sports analysts, because even with Shannon Sharpe to some degree, and Shannon is a little much better than Stephen A. I give him that, but some of these other but sometimes they can be on a tap dance trend. They can be tapping a little bit. Stephen A. is the biggest one, but the level of cooning that I see from these reporters and that analysis, and analysts, excuse me, let me show y'all what I'm talking about. This is from USA Today. This is Mike Freeman. He wrote an article stating that how many women does it take, and does it take the NFL before you take action against DeShaun Watson? Saying this is a black man, by the way. A question for the NFL: how many women accusers does it take before you act against DeShaun Watson? Saying the allegations are deeply disturbing doesn't count as action. Everyone is deeply disturbed by what we're seeing. Those words have also become so watered down, they don't mean as much as they used to. I'm deeply disturbed when my wireless quits. But back to the original question: is there a specific number? Is it 5 women saying Watson behaved inappropriately? We passed that number long ago. Is it 10? Past that. 15. That's very March. 20. Amazingly, we've left that number in the dust as well. We're now at 22 women filing lawsuits against Watson, with some of them making various but similar accusations of sexual misconduct, including grabbing them, exposing themselves, touching them with his genitals, ejaculating on them, or forcing them to put their mouths on his genitals. I don't know how you ejaculate on someone for that long, or what he had, but essentially he's talking about putting him on the exempt list. And you can listen to this. One of the things, and I'm glad Tyree brought this up, he mentions in here, they're talking about putting him on the exempt list. I'm not going to read all of it because it's crap, but he takes a shot at our elder, Bill Cosby. The reasons why the league should act are numerous, and every hurdle Watson's defenders raised continues to be clear. Watson has a sterling rep, his backers say. So did Bill Cosby. Hey, wait a minute. None of them have gone to the police. One just did. That's just one that recently did after the lawsuit. The lawyer is a carnival barker. That may be true, but if it's all fake, it's one of the greatest fakes in history, and Busby is doing it at his own peril. All of the women are anonymous. Not any longer. The 2 came forward this week. They came forward after they filed the lawsuits, fool. These are people that are talking, ladies and gentlemen, who are not lawyers. And I saw Skip Bayless talking about how Mike Freeman is the premier African-American. Who appoints that nigga? Excuse me. Who appoints this nigga? Skip Bayless? Who are you, the authority on black men anyway, to even mention that? So I leave with that. Let's have Bernard go this time. I'll let Bernard go first on it, and then Shawn, you go ahead.
Let me say something, man. This whole thing has been like a farce, man. I'm like, come on. That's my thing. See, if they saying he did it, right? All this nonsense. Look, why didn't they go to the police first? Why now? And you know something? I'm glad you showed that video, Gavin, because I didn't see it. But it looked like that woman is an Asian too. So is this another thing with Stop Asian Hate again? I'm just asking. Because that was a very, and the white woman talking about, oh, the black man that people looked up to as a predator. How y'all getting off on this? Mike Freeman, who cares? He's a joke. Stephen A. is a joke. All them guys on them sports shows, that's why I can't even watch them. They're jokes.
I stopped watching it a long time ago, especially what they did to LeVar Ball.
Yeah.
Over at ESPN.
Look, Jalen Rose can't even control Molly Quim on there, man. Come on, man. I mean, who's listening to these people? But what I'm saying though, this didn't happen until DeShaun Watson talked about he wanted to leave. Now,
Right.
not only may he not be able to leave, they might put him on a exempt list. They
Right.
might be trying to Ray Rice's brother, except that he not beating the women up as Ray Rice they claimed he was doing, or they put the video out. But they never knew about that. But they trying to do something to his brother. What I'm saying, this is what I always say. If we going after Deshaun Watson, not saying he did it or didn't. This is what I'm about to say. Yeah, Brent Roethlisberger's still starting. That's right. But Nike and Beats by Dre and everything suspending contracts. What happened with Robert Kraft about a year ago? Robert Kraft was in a massage parlor too. So what happened?
Nothing happened to him. He got his charges dropped. I think it was no
That's right.
problem. Yeah. Yeah, and that was in Florida. That was in Florida when that happened.
Yes. Yes, you're
Yeah.
right. Molly Quinn, the racist, using Jalen Rose as a shield to cover her racism. Yes.
Let me just say this something too about Molly Querim. I remember when Tariq Nasheed, of course, he's called the king of receipts because whenever there's somebody out there, he's always checking you out to see about you and things you've said. There are videos of Molly Querim. Remember when that incident happened with LeVar Ball when he talked about switching gears and she tried to make it look like LeVar was hitting on her? Well, there were videos of her when she was on the NFL Network at that time, and she made sexually suggestive comments and did things with some of her co-hosts. And even on ESPN, there's some stuff as well. She has always, listen, they put these women on there because they're eye candy. They don't care about their opinion. It's about sex. Let's just be real.
Right.
Some of them, like Joy Taylor, I think Joy is much better than Molly. Although I have a little more respect for her because she has more knowledge of stuff.
Tonight, DeShaun Watson's lawyers are pushing back after one of his accused.
Yeah. So I was saying, I think she has a little more knowledge about the game and stuff than a Molly Querim does. But yeah, Molly Querim rolls. But and Jalen, Jalen, of course, she's married to him, and of course that don't mean a damn thing if you're married to a black person because that black person, we saw it with that UNC college football, that college basketball coach that embarrassed himself.
I was just about to say that, man.
I'm white. I'm like, really, nigga? What?
Hubert Davis, man.
No, Steve Harvey. What your ass say? I'm just saying, y'all. This nigga, he make Django look like Malcolm.
This is why I hate identity. This is why I hate identity politics, man.
Yeah, but that was stupid. And he got Donkey of the Day. I don't watch Charlemagne the God and them, but I saw he got Donkey of the Day, rightfully so, because that was utterly stupid. But yeah, man, but I just wanted to make that point about Molly. Bernard, if you don't have anything else, I'll give it to Sean.
I just wanted to say that, since January 20th, since Mr. Biden got in, and I was listening to the guy's show today, it's like the false flags, the psyops, the big angry black man, stop Asian hate, all that is all came crashing down. Everybody's so oppressed and all that. We didn't have these problems when Trump was in office, man. Everything is a repeat coming back. It's coming back real hard.
Yeah. All right, Sean.
Well, I have to agree with Bernard that this is definitely a farce. And I find it quite farcical that this woman is going to, again, come out just to talk about this case. And when you really look at this case, you can clearly see that there is a double standard as related to black and white in this country, because we have all these people coming out against DeShaun Watson and talking about how he is this predator. But when we look at New York State right here with Andrew Cuomo, there's nothing but silence as related to his allegations. And we have all these people trying to give Andrew Cuomo a pass for the exact same behavior they're alleging that DeShaun Watson has participated in. And your DeShaun Watson, he is well within his rights to ask to know who is accusing him under the Constitution, because that's part of the constitutional law that says a person who is accused needs to know who is making these accusations against them. And when you really look at things, these accusers, they want to try to hide behind civil court. But if this man is such a predator, then why are they taking all their cases to civil court? That's a critical question everybody needs to ask about this whole case. Why are these women going to civil court with these cases if this man is such a predator? Because that just doesn't make any logical sense. Because if this man is, again, such a dangerous predator who has done all of these vicious and violent things, you would think you want to take this man off the street. But we never heard anything about DeShaun Watson again until he decided to ask for that trade. And when he asked for that trade, the NFL owner, again, wanted to, as I see it, put this black man in his place and let the slave know that he needs to get back to work on the plantation. So this is really, as I see it, all about trying to emasculate this black man and take away his ability to have power over himself, because he had the audacity to sit here and ask for a trade from a losing team. And this owner did not want this to happen. So he came out here with this whole, as I see it, farcical allegation of sexual assaults and talking about he did all these things with these masseuses, but the evidence really isn't there to prove it. And they're trying the case in the court of public opinion because they know they really don't have a case in criminal court. Now, there's been one woman who wants to try to go with this investigation in criminal court, but if she does that and perjures herself, she's going to destroy her credibility, just like that woman who made that statement talking about how he was a good black man, which we know is a racist statement. That right there just shows me again.
Then she could go to jail.
Yeah, she can go to jail for perjury, but they don't understand the gravity of this whole case. And the whole thing is, again, when I really look at it, we clearly have a double standard here, because here in New York, you have Andrew Cuomo dealing with the same allegations, and yet everybody, he's keeping his job. Nobody's really pushing back on it. But DeShaun Watson, everybody wants him to be out of a job. And again, it shows us a double standard as related to black and white. The black man, you want to get out of his job and you want to destroy his ability to be employed. Like you want to destroy him the same way you destroyed Ray Rice's ability to get employment or Colin Kaepernick's ability to get employment, all because they asked to be equal. But your Andrew Cuomo, he's still sitting here as the governor of New York weeks after these allegations. And we've had numerous reports. We had a recent report of one woman who detailed what these alleged incidents had happened. But nobody's really pushing hard for Andrew Cuomo to lose his job the way they're pushing for DeShaun Watson to be kicked out of the NFL. And all your DeShaun Watson, as I see it, really did was have the audacity to ask to be the equal of a white quarterback and ask for a trade. And it just shows us how the NFL is just one big slave plantation. And if a slave gets out of line, they go out here and participate in a high-tech lynching where they go out here and lynch the black brute for having the audacity to say that he wanted to have the same economic power as a white man.
The fact that she made that, Lauren Baxley made that comment, I am furious that the talented and hardworking young black man that gave so many children inspiration, that actually is a red flag right there, just that line.
Yeah.
You're mentioning a black man. What does his race have to do with you being sexually assaulted? If we're talking about I see no color and we live in a colorblind society, why are you bringing that up?
That's because she's a racist.
It's racism. It's racism. Yeah. And I didn't play the full conference. That's Tony Busby, I think, in the video clip right there. They call him a carnival barker. But let me just say this. If we can go on these Negroes like Stephen A. Smith, and you know what's interesting, though, Stephen A. Smith kind of in one of the videos, and I'm sure he changes his opinion every day, but he kind of defended Watson. But then you have Max Kellerman saying, how serious it is. It's like, which side are you guys on? This is America. When you live in America, you're innocent until proven guilty. And the fact that you have accusations against someone, it doesn't matter the amount of accusations. It's an accusation. It's not a conviction. When there's a difference between being accused of something and being convicted of something. The point is, can I prove the accusation in court? Michael Jackson, and I love Judge Joe Brown, but I strongly disagreed with Judge about Michael, because when it went to court, there were 13 other accusers that testified, and I've talked with Judge about this too, that these kids got caught lying. Not to mention also Michael was under FBI surveillance when all that stuff was going on. So if he was guilty of, possession of child pornography, the things that they were saying as to what happened, having kids run naked in his house, they would have caught him, and that would have been damning information right then and there. He would be in jail right now. You can fabricate, you're exactly right. You can fabricate a lie to convict a person. And all of this energy too that we're seeing now, notice how the Me Too movement is starting to come back up in the year of 2021, when in 2020 they were silent. We hardly heard anything. And you could say it's about COVID was the main reason, that took up the news. I don't blame it just on COVID-19. I look at it too because the former president, or the current president, I should say, is in the White House now, Uncle Joe, and we know that Biden has been accused of sexual misconduct as well. They did not, even those who were in the Me Too movement, like Alyssa Milano and who's the other one, Rose McGowan, all those, they even said that they were going to endorse Biden.
Tawanda Burke just got an award.
She just didn't get an award, but she got a production. She's awarded a production company.
That's a reward for being a good slave.
She got awarded for a production company, and
I need to go get a bag of dog biscuits, man.
You need to dog biscuits. Too got I call it Tyrannosaurus Burke. Tyrannosaurus Burke. This whole thing is a money grab, people, and I don't see how now y'all don't get it. If you don't get it by now, then something is wrong with you. This is about money.
Yeah, it's a cash grab. It's all about her getting paid, and it's all about her getting this payment from minute one. I mean, why are you going to civil court instead of criminal court?
It hurts real victims too, because don't get me wrong. I believe that, of course, I know of women who have been raped. I have colleagues, a fellow friend and attorney of mine who was raped. So I don't doubt that stuff goes on. And yeah, people like that who do that to another person, they need, I'm a criminal defense attorney, but I'll just say it. Sometimes they need their balls kicked in. They need to get clipped. I got to be careful with what I say on here, but that's how I feel. I'm not saying to go out and do that, but if I, something like that, they need their ass whipped. Just be real. But I think if you lie about being assaulted, I think if you lie about rape, when we look at, the Emmett Till, look at Emmett Till. How easy it was for him in 1955 to just be accused of whistling at a white woman, that we find out that didn't even happen. And by the way, that woman who did that is still alive. And she actually, according to court documents, there were people who testified. The uncle who testified, Emmett Till's uncle, stated he heard a woman's voice in the car when they brought Emmett out to the truck. And they asked him, Roy Bryant asked, is that him? Is this the one? And he heard a female's voice say, that's him. So by her saying that, and this is for all those that, if you want to know something about criminal law, that makes her a principal. Here in Louisiana, we say principals. In common law, you say accessory before the fact. But that's a principal of first-degree murder. She's a fucking child killer. Where's the outrage for that? You want Bill Cosby's in jail, but she can't go to jail?
Let me say something to Shawn right quick. Shawn, you are exactly right about what you said about Cuomo. Because my thing is, see, Shawn, with all due respect, all right, Bernard, I put it in chat. But this is what I want to say, Shawn. Cuomo should be looked at for the nursing home thing. They use the sexual abuse thing with him as a smokescreen for what something they already had. They had something else already for him. So they really shouldn't have even pulled that game. And now Cuomo is about to walk through, and you got Charlie Rangel, who Dr. Khalid Muhammad talked about back in the 90s, old bootlicking Charlie Rangel. You got this person, and then every time I see Cuomo now, he with a bunch of black deceased. It makes me sick.
22 women, mostly licensed massage therapists, have filed lawsuits.
I'm sorry, Bernard. Repeat what you said.
I said Cuomo now is looking at getting off the hook. He doesn't want to step down, just like this governor we got down here in Virginia, who have made these Negroes happy. Oh, we got weed getting legalized on July 1st. Oh my God, thank you, Ralph Northam. Ralph Northam had blackface on, got caught, and then they sent Al Sharpton down here to weather the storm, and now Ralph Northam's still in office. Yeah, give me a break. But Cuomo is the same way, doesn't want to resign, neither does Gavin Newsom, but Cuomo should be in trouble for what? The nursing home deaths. I ain't worried about sexual assault this time. That's a farce. The nursing home deaths is what I'm worried about. But I just want to say that, and every time Cuomo got in trouble, he run to even his white wealthy people, and he's really Italian too, but they won't even back him. Who did he go get? Charlie Rangel and these other black people at vaccination sites. And what did they say? That they don't have evidence. Cuomo need his day in court. How dare you say that? But you telling me DeShaun Watson can't get his day in court? What the hell wrong with these Negroes, man? What the fuck is going on?
That's what's really sad, that you have black folks, and I've seen the black folks here in New York going after Andrew Cuomo, and they're backing him up and buck dancing. And they're all talking about all he needs due process. But like you said, DeShaun Watson doesn't need due process. That's what makes it so hypocritical. And it just makes it completely insane. Here we have a man, DeShaun Watson, who has not even been prosecuted or had any sort of police reports or criminal charges filed. Yet people want to take his job. They want to lock him up. But this man is, again, we're supposed to be innocent until proven guilty. But you're Andrew Cuomo, who surely, again, I agree with you, he should be being prosecuted as related to those COVID-19 deaths. He should not even be the governor of New York right now. But what's really, again, it just shows the hypocrisy of this country. You got people upset over DeShaun Watson and allegations as related to this whole scandal more upset about this scandal than a man who might have possibly murdered thousands of people in nursing homes and has also been in another scandal. And again, people just giving him a pass, but they got to go get after the black man because the black man is the boogeyman, and they want to get this boogeyman, this big black brute. We have to stop this big black brute before he winds up doing damage. And they're not looking at the white man doing even more damage to the society.
Right. And another important point on that too is that you have this guy Gates, this representative. I think I can't think of what state he's out of, but CNN is talking about this stuff because supposedly one of his associates is taking a plea deal with regards to a sex trafficking case that's going on. And I wanted to get y'all. I wasn't going to talk about it since you're bringing all that up. But this is the same CNN that Andrew Cuomo's brother, Chris Cuomo, is on here. This is Matt Gaetz. He's out of Florida, and This is him here. I wasn't going to talk about it, but the same CNN, obviously, they're talking. Chris Cuomo is on the show, and remember, they really did. They talked about Andrew Cuomo, but not. I don't think they did it as much. And of course, they didn't have Chris talk about it, but that's Gates to the right, and I'm not a fan of Gates either. I heard he's a racist. I really don't care for him. I could tell you two cents about him, but apparently they're looking at a trip to the Bahamas that he had and alleging, and this is all on CNN, but they have been silent on a number of things, including this scandal with the nursing home. And that really should be the one that everybody should be focusing on in regards to Andrew Cuomo. You talked about that. And he never resigned or stepped down. I mean, are they still calling for his resignation out there, Sean? You're up in New York.
They're still calling for it, but he's not listening. And the whole thing is, the voices are getting less and less loud. And he's using and he went out here and got these buck dancing Negroes to come out here, and they are the ones leading the charge. The whole thing is, he knew that out of all the groups, because all these whites and Hispanics and Asians have pulled away from him, but he knows he could go get these buck dancing black folks to go stand by him. And because he got the buck dancing black folks, he's practically made it where people are not as being heard the way they used to. I mean, we had one white woman come out here and detail her story, but the media has practically buried it. But meanwhile, we got DeShaun Watson practically on every day and being dragged through the media every day because they want to go out here and use the black brute to deflect from the unethical white man.
I'm Representative Charlie Rango.
When I saw that, Sean, that damn picture of them Negroes hanging around Cuomo, I saw about 10 of them as some National Guard members. And I said, I know I got to be dreaming. I see this many black folks hanging around Cuomo right now. I said, Charlie Rango's still alive. Charlie Rango's 90 years old, man. If Dr. Khalid Muhammad was talking about you in 1998 when they had that thing down there with Giuliani at that Million Youth March, and Charlie Rango's still around, man, we still in real bad shape, bro.
Yeah.
So what did Khalid Muhammad say about Charlie Rango?
Call him old bootlicking Charlie Rango. Call him bootlicker.
Which is what he is.
He called bootlicking, homogenized Negroes.
Right, he took over. He took over on Chad Wheeler wasn't even on ESPN like talking about, so that's why I say forget ESPN. But Charlie Rango. No, but what's interesting too, now that I think about it with Charlie Rango, he took over Adam Clayton Powell's seat.
Yep.
And Adam Clayton Powell, who was also an Alpha Phi Alpha, like Dr. King and even like Rango, he actually did stuff there in Harlem and did things in New York for black people. He was the last, really one of the true representatives. If you're talking about a congressional, well, he was before the Congressional Black Caucus, but somebody that actually wanted to do stuff and was, a fighter and warrior.
Tonight, DeShaun Watson's lawyers are pushing back after what?
That was him. But no, not no Charlie Rango.
Yeah.
And they say here this Dr. Christian Greer. She's cute. But I guess she wrote this article praising Charlie as still a lion. So the lion, no.
The guy who who did nothing for anyone, and practically let that black district go into Hispanic hands.
The lion is the lion is spaded. The lion is asleep. This isn't a lion. This is Tom that took Leo the Lion's place in MGM in those Tom and Jerry commercials when you thought it was a lion and then all of a sudden it switched to Tom. That's him.
Trouble, call 800. When in trouble, hey Sean, when in trouble, call 1-800 Charlie Rango, and he'll be at your side like nationwide.
I will be there all the time for you people. As your state representative, your congressional representative, Charles Rango, Yeah. Can I go to the bathroom?
So there's a Hispanic district now, Sean, you say?
Yeah, there was a black district, but then a guy named, I think his name Espiat, took over. So Latinos took over the district because he didn't even take the time to even develop a successor. So he got his and he walked away and he abandoned that whole district. And now Hispanics now control that district and are giving tangibles to Hispanics, even though black people never got any from Charlie Rangel. So he was just useless.
That's why AOC saying they need reparations. Illegal immigrants need reparations. That's what AOC said. That's interesting.
Yeah. So yeah, man. But we keep putting these. This is a interesting situation. I'm interested to see how it goes with regards to this thing with DeShaun Watson. But let's get into some other news. I want to talk about this, man. Of course, Biden, and this is your thing too, Bernard. Biden is announcing new gun control actions. He's also announcing actions for the Asian American Pacific Islander community. Now, I want everybody to take a look at this. This is a fact sheet. Shout out to Dwan B, because this is how I found this out. I went and Googled this. But apparently, Biden has announced this is his plan in response to anti-Asian violence, xenophobia, and bias. Too many Asian Americans, he said, have been walking up and down the streets and worrying, waking up each morning the past year feeling their safety and the safety of their loved ones are at stake. They've been attacked, blamed, scapegoated, and harassed. They've been verbally assaulted, physically assaulted, killed. The conversation we had today with the AAPI leaders and that we're hearing all across the country is that hate and violence often hide in plain sight, and it often met with silence. That's been true throughout our history, but that has to change because our silence is complicity. We cannot be complicit. We have to speak out. We have to act. And when I look at this, these are some of the, I guess, executive orders, a statement, release, and plan that he has for AAPI. I want you to look at this. He's talking about passing a COVID-19 Hate Crimes Act that's introduced by Senator Hironio and Congresswoman Ming. I guess those are Asian Americans. But look down here. So you talk about a task force, but also funding for survivors of domestic violence and sexual assault. The Department of Health and Human Services is allocating $49.5 million from the American Rescue Plan to a new grant program for community-based, culturally specific services and programs for survivors of domestic violence and sexual assault who face additional barriers to services and safety, such as language access barriers. This program will expand services to domestic violence survivors from Asian American, Native Hawaiian, and Pacific Islanders. They're also talking about establishment of a Department of Justice cross-agency initiative to address anti-Asian violence. I saw videos of Rihanna and a few others at that rally to stop Asian hate and so forth. But all of this stuff that goes on to Black people in this country, you would think, you're talking about people that just, I'm not saying that there isn't any discrimination going on that happens, but the data and numbers, for if you look at the statistics, are small. And compared to what we have had to go through, you're talking about, you got someone like Bill de Blasio talking about having the New York Police Department actually go out in New York and call on people or check people that say things to Asian Americans. You call on people, you tattling on somebody because they say something to you, as much as we've had stuff said to us. There's nothing here. You're talking about a community outreach for the National Asian Pacific American Bar Association. What about the National Bar Association? Are they reaching out to us, especially in the wake of these police killings? Reparations. So y'all can look this up. Look at this yourselves. This is the first time I'm looking at it. They're talking about funding critical research to prevent and address bias and xenophobia. The National Science Foundation is taking a comprehensive approach to investing in research to understand, address, and end bias, discrimination, and xenophobia, including against PI communities. They're supporting more than 100 grants across the country, totaling more than $33 million of investment. So they're going to continue spending money on these things. Y'all see this shit?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I do see it, and I gotta say something about it. Because
right, go ahead, Bernard.
I know this was gonna happen because I remember in his campaign promises, he was talking about Asian Pacific Islanders, and you remember when as soon as that first day happened, he said within 5 days of him being in the White House, he said we must address the epidemic of anti-Asian violence. The whole thing is a scam because number one, the reason they keep yelling stop Asian hate because what's going on in China right now, the Beijing Games. They're talking about a possible boycott of the Beijing Games for the human rights abuses in China, how they sterilize the Uyghur Muslim women, Uyghur Muslim women, and their human rights abuses of labor and human trafficking and work camps and stuff. That's what this is all about. But they're using us as a smokescreen for it. Just the other day, I don't know if people know this, they found out, guess what? One of the guys attacking Asians was an undercover cop. So if that's one undercover cop doing it, I guarantee you other undercover cops out here attacking Asians and making us the face. Like, I don't know if you've seen that video with them guys, them pink hoodies. Come on, man. Who is writing?
I saw that guy. That's the guy I think you're talking about that was hiding behind Andrew Yang.
Yeah.
Provided by him. But what you said, there was an undercover cop. Could you send an article so we can see that?
Yeah, let me find it for you. I'll find it for you. Go ahead, Shawn, while I try to find it.
You can find it, and Shawn, you go ahead and speak on this, man.
Well, when I look at this whole thing with this these proposed grants for anti-Asian hate, this is a grant money hustle. I worked in nonprofit, and this is a way to funnel money to the Asian community and use the Black community as a scapegoat and an excuse to funnel this money. We had a similar operation run like this with the Me Too movement, where they sat there and used the Black community and made Black men the image of sexual predation in order for them to get money out of Hollywood. And the same thing is being done here. What they want to do is create this menace in Black people to be able to find a way to get their grant money and their earmarks from the government. And what they want to do is be able to do this at our expense, make us the bad guy, make us the villain, and make us the scapegoat so that they can have a way to get this money at the expense of the Black community. So we're not, if you really look at all the videos out there, some of them, most of them feature white men participating in a lot of these violence. And you never see any Asian people talking about stop Asian hate as related to these white men, because a lot of them worship white people and they don't really want to confront white people with their issues. So they project their issues onto Black people, make us the bad guy, and then use that as a way to confront those white people who give them the money. But then there is no, as I see it, this whole narrative, it just completely false, because when I look at most of the videos, it's white people. And when I looked at the later ones that they were putting out here, they were so phony baloney. I mean, I've lived here in New York for 47 years. Who is wearing a pink hoodie and a fedora with a motorcycle jacket? It's absolutely, nobody here in New York dresses like that. Then they got this ex-offender who murdered his mother. And I think he was a plant as well, because when he beat up that 65-year-old woman, I mean, he just it didn't look right to me, because again, an ex-offender, he's on parole. Why would he want to do that? That's a critical question I have to ask, because Why would an ex-offender want to risk his parole? He just got out for murdering his mother. Why would he attack this woman in the street? And another guy out there, again, the same guy with the pink hoodie, he had a record too. So I'm looking at this like, this doesn't make any logical sense, because these guys had too much to lose when you really think about it. Why would they act so impulsively and attack an Asian person out of all the people on the train? Usually when black people are on the train, they have nothing to do with Asians at all. I mean, I've been on trains for over 30 years, and nobody really even bothers with Asian people. I mean, even in the stores in neighborhoods I was in, many of the Koreans and stuff, many people just came in, got their stuff, and left. And in many cases, I remember in the 90s, most of the Asians left when the Hispanics came into the community. So most people aren't having these interactions, and this whole narrative, it just comes across as completely false. Because again, I think about in the 90s, we had all these Korean stores, and a lot of them left when Latinos came in and took over the community. And when they took over the neighborhood, they practically shut down all those businesses by not shopping there. So I'm looking at it as going, this doesn't make any logical sense to me, because most people had no dealings with these Asian people like this. And it has to be some type of ulterior motive pushing things, because I believe that a lot of these people are afraid that because of the pandemic, they're not going to be able to get any sort of tangibles, because you have more and more black people demanding reparations. You have more and more black people making more and more demands of the government. And these people know that they're going to get cut out the same way Hispanics cut them out here in New York. I mean, Hispanics practically cut out all those Korean stores, and they all had to move. And they're afraid that if black people start making demands, they're going to be cut out of the economy. So now they want to push this victim narrative to make black people the bad guy, so that they can get up in front of black people and get this government money, these earmarks. Again, it's looking like one big hustle to me, and it's looking like one big con job, because here we had a pandemic going on last year. You would think all the Asian violence would have started there and it would have continued on, but the numbers just don't sit there. I mean, we have thousands of attacks on black people in this country year after year, but we have no push from the government to give tangibles to black people. But like 36, 37 attacks on Asians, and many of them, I believe, are staged, and we've got millions of dollars going to Asian communities.
It's interesting you say that too, because I saw one attack that was on Inside Edition. Supposedly, well, one of the ladies was actually a news reporter, a former news reporter up there in New York, and she got knocked out supposedly by it looks like a black man that punched her, and they're talking about this, but it looks like she's talking. And she's a former reporter. When they interviewed her, she was around when you guys had the crimes going on in New York, like Bernie Getz and the Summer of Sam and so forth. So I thought that was interesting, coincidentally, that she gets hit. And then I can't think of her name, but you may know who I'm referring to, those in New York. And then another thing, right now as well, what you're saying with the hoodie situation, it all seems like, and I believe that these are actors, probably from the government. And let's not forget from the local governments, the police departments, and let's not forget also, and Bishop is talking about this. I was about to say this. They have gotten, and they are still getting rich from the black community, where a large number of them have businesses in the areas where we live. They take out of our communities and put nothing into it. That is absolutely correct. A lot of them do that still to this day. I certainly look at, I was by a Chinese restaurant earlier today, and, I noticed that all of the biggest supporters that go to the restaurants, of course, that patronize them, 95% or better are black. Gas stations, Arabs who own that, 90% of them are black. You see them sitting on a corner, or you see them standing, patronizing the business. Some of them asking for $1 and so forth. They go in there so they can get their cigarettes or their liquor or whatever, or get their lottery tickets. How many blacks own any of these gas stations? Very few. So I think that we're gonna have to look at group economics. You know, like I said, we're gonna have to start and create more and more businesses because that's the only thing we're gonna break this cycle. And technically speaking, like I live in the area here in New Orleans East, on the other side of further down Chef Tour Highway in New Orleans East area, past Michoud, that's the Asian community right there. They got a whole group of businesses and homes and stuff that they live out. I mean, we don't really mess around with them, like talking about it. You know, they do their thing. We do ours. We don't really mess with them like going about it unless I gotta be there for some reason or I'm there on business or some of some nature. That might be the only thing. You know, if we have a reason to be out there, that's one thing. But I mean, we really don't mess with them. So yeah, man. But this is all a joke. And then on top of that, now we tie that into, and I see what you sent me, Bernard. It looks like what they're saying is one of the officers who responded to this a so-called crime was undercover. So
Yeah.
I see that, and I'll put that link in the comment section so everybody can read. But that was from dailycoast.com. But I want to also.
They got undercover cops that's monitoring whether you're attacking Asians. That's really what it's all about. So
Right.
next
That's essentially what this is saying. And they're claiming on the New York Times there were at least 35 in 1 year in this year alone against Asians and so forth.
Oh my God. God damn.
A lot of that, you know, I don't doubt if that a lot of that is inflated, but let me move on. I want to tie this in also to another fact sheet and stuff that the Biden administration is starting their gun control plan. He announced this earlier today at a press conference, what he's going to do to try to curtail gun violence. I see that Butterfly 70 is here. She said, "What's up, Butterfly 70?" Says it could be a person in blackface. Yes, they make masks. They've actually made masks too of black people where a white person will put that over their face. And they can say this is a black male or this was a black woman that did this, but it was really a white person. It's a great disguise. It's a great way to rob someone. And this is a fact sheet here, though, from the Biden administration. This is his plan on gun control. He states that they announced the 6 initial actions to address the gun violence public health epidemic. The recent high-profile shootings in Boulder, taking the lives of 10 individuals, in Atlanta, taking the lives of 8 individuals, including 6 Asian American women, underscores the relentlessness of this pandemic or epidemic. Gun violence takes lives and leaves a lasting legacy of trauma in communities every single day in this country, even when it is not on the nightly news. In fact, cities across the country are in the midst of a historic spike in homicides, violence that disproportionately impact Black and brown Americans. Oh, finally, they mention us. The president is committed to taking action to reduce all forms of gun violence, community violence, mass shootings, domestic violence, and suicide by firearm. They're announcing a proposed rule to help stop the proliferation of ghost guns. Basically, criminals that buy kits containing nearly all of the components for making a firearm. They're trying to announce a rule that would stop that. They also propose a rule to make clear when a device marketed as a stabilizing brace effectively turns into a pistol, into a short barrel rifle subject to the requirements of the National Firearms Act. They also want to publish a model for all states, a red flag law regarding family members or allow family members and or law enforcement to petition the court from temporarily barring people in crisis from accessing firearms if they present a danger to themselves or others. My question is, who determines that? And how would you get law enforcement involved into something like that? Are they going to be monitoring you? It seems like that's the only way they can make that work. They're talking about investing in evidence-based community violence interventions. Now, this is not House Bill 127, Bernard, as we've stated, but they're talking about working with federal agencies to changing 26 different programs to support community violence intervention, and annual reports on firearms tracking from the ATF. So this is just a couple of things. And he's named David Chipman as the new director of the Bureau of the ATF. So all right, Shane. Shane's got to go, but she said she's going to buy one of your books too tonight, Shawn. So yeah, buy the John Haynes series from Shawn tonight, Shane, when you get a chance. It's available on Amazon. So I'm going to let Shawn go first, Bernard, on this one.
Go ahead.
Well, when it comes down to this whole Biden announcement on trying to do something about guns, it's just going to completely fail. I mean, a lot of this stuff he announced was done in the 90s, and a lot of this stuff he was proposing, it just isn't going to work. And when I look at one of the points he was talking about, those so-called build kit guns, that's something that there's no legislation that can do anything about, because people will get these kits off the dark web, they'll get them off the internet and print them with 3D printers. So there's nothing no legislation can really stop that from being distributed. And all the other measures he's talking about, like the background checks, we've already had all of this stuff going on for years. I mean, we've had all of these measures in place. What's really he doesn't really understand is we've got strict gun control laws in states like Colorado. I believe Rhode Island, where the state where Adam Lanza participated in his massacre. And those gun laws did nothing to stop these shooters, because those shooters bought their weapons legally, and those men passed those background checks. Now, what your President Biden isn't really trying to deal with is what really is causing most of these shooters to become killers, and that is the man crisis that's going on here in America. Because the reason why we have so many shootings going on is because we've raised 2 to 3 generations of men in a dysfunctional fashion in these single mother households and divorced households. And because these males did not have a father to teach them male life skills and male survival skills, we've got a bumper crop of beta males out here. And these men, as they're coming out of these lockdowns from the pandemic and the economy is opening up, these men are looking at the state of the economy where half the country is still unemployed. And many of these men, they have been isolated for over a year inside of an apartment or a house. And these men are they've been sitting there in these echo chambers, listening to all sorts of conspiracy theories. And that's why we're seeing this increase in violence right now, is because we're seeing all of these men who already were deeply troubled before the pandemic. We had the lockdowns. These men were isolated for long periods of time. These men some of them have been sitting inside of these echo chambers, listening to a lot of conspiracy theories. A lot of these men have been listening to all sorts of stuff online. And some of them have just been sitting there by themselves, just thinking about stuff over and over again. And that has made their mental health deteriorate. And this is what's creating what I called one of the worst summers going to be coming, because a lot of these men, as the economy opens up, as the weather gets warmer, a lot of these men they're not only ticking time bombs, they're time bombs where the clock has been sped up, and now they're going out here participating in this violence. And I have been saying in numerous of my own videos, saying that this was going to get worse. And what we're seeing is an increase in the frequency of this violence, because as this weather gets warmer and these men start to see the economy opening up, and they start to see more and more media coverage being given to each mass shooting, they're seeing more and more attention for an attempt to become infamous. And that's why we're seeing more and more of this violence. But your President Biden wants to think it's going to be gun control legislation that's going to stop things, but it's not going to stop anything. We have to deal with this man crisis. We have to work to rebuild the American family, because the real problems have to do with the state of the American family. We have men who have no sense of direction, no sense of focus. And again, when you have men with no direction, no focus, what I call an idle mind, they've been crafting up plans in that devil's workshop in these lockdowns. And that's what we're seeing happening. These men executing many of the plans that come from that devil's workshop. And he's sitting there again thinking that, oh, if we sign gun control legislation and for plastic guns and bump stocks, this is going to stop something. But it didn't stop anything in the 90s when we had these assault weapons bans, which we saw an increase in mass shootings even with that assault weapons ban. And we saw an increase in these types of crimes that continues to increase in frequency. And again, we have these states, New York, Rhode Island, many others, Colorado, all have strict gun control laws, yet these mass shooters still get access to guns, and they get access to guns legally because most of these men can easily pass a background check. And that again shows us that the problem isn't the guns. The problem is the way we are raising boys in this United States and the West. And we would still have this problem if we legislated all this gun control, because it would be like the United Kingdom, where they don't have any guns over there, but we've got a lot of knife attacks over there. And I believe in America, if we had the gun control, these guys would actually escalate their violence, and they would stop trying to, it would either do knife attacks or it would be something like Oklahoma City practically every week.
Yeah.
Let me say something right quick about that gun control thing. Whenever you talk about gun control and any type of weapons control, see, that's a slippery slope, because the Second Amendment says it should not be infringed.
Right.
And it also says you have the right to bear arms to protect yourself from government tyranny. When in 1940s and 30s, when they needed to put Japanese in internment camps, what did they do? They took away their weapons. That's the first step of a government tyranny imposing on you. That's the first part, fascism. But there's also a book, and I'm not sure if Gavin's read it. Matter of fact, Gavin, you read it, and probably Sean read it. Y'all good readers, called Operation Paperclip. And if you read Operation Paperclip, it talks about the intelligence project about the Nazis to America. The Nazis didn't lose the war. They already here.
Book. Well, I know about the actual program. That's the book you're talking about. Operation Paperclip. The TV series Hunters is set in the 70s on Amazon. It's based off of that. So
yeah.
But
when they start imposing these restrictions, trying to do that, the government tyranny is sure to follow, and they're already doing it anyway. And I just wanted to bring one more thing about that Asian thing you said that I forgot. You said 35 attacks. That's not a lot, but that Stop AAPI is a non-profit organization, and you have rappers like Common and Young Jeezy, and I'm telling you, donate to AAPI to stop. What you gonna do donating to the damn thing, man? Come on, man, get out of here.
Yeah,
get this nonsense out. And why is it the Biden-Harris administration? I thought it was the Biden administration. Shit.
Well, that just that tells you who's going to be the next president and who's really running things right now. The key person running stuff, because Biden, I feel that Joe Biden is too sleepy. Well, he's in bed. He's in bed right now. He is actually not running these things. I think people that are running it is his cabinet. That's, and I think that's evident when you look at the facts. He's stammering, he doesn't know names, he's forgetful, and so forth. But it's very interesting. People have been, those especially that voted for him or were pressuring the black people, you got to go out and vote. We got half Trump. You notice they've been silent when all of this stuff has been going on.
Wow.
They've been quiet.
Wow.
They have been very quiet about this stuff because now that they're seeing that remember, it was black people that were Biden announced, he said it himself, that I owe the black community a debt because it was black people in Georgia and Michigan that put him over the hump, right? What has he done now? And where are they?
Well, obviously, the black people in Georgia, and them, he got to thank the illegal immigrants for getting over the hump because that's what he daggone catering do.
Well, I'm talking about what he's saying, but I mean, the black community have been silent on it. But no, Shawn, they've been quiet, haven't they?
Yeah, they've been quite silent on it. I mean, Tariq Nasheed talked about how these black people practically disappeared. I mean, you think about it, it's like we again went out here and voted in large numbers for Joe Biden, and he hasn't even he again told us we weren't going to get anything in December. But the whole thing is, all these people are now seeing that you weren't going to get anything. They're feeling stupid right now, and they've got a really bad case of voters' remorse. And the reason why they're so silent is because they've got that voters' remorse. They realize they're not getting anything intangible in exchange for their vote. And they're realizing they should have listened to people like us who told them they shouldn't have taken their booties to the poll, because you only go to the poll to vote for a candidate who supports your agenda and is going to guarantee you're going to get tangibles. Now, what's really sad about these black voters is here you have an illegal immigrant who is not even a citizen of this country getting tangibles before you, and communities like the Asian community who voted in large numbers for Donald Trump getting tangibles for not voting for them. And that's really, again, an embarrassment to black people, because you went out here, took your booties to the poll, listened to the strippers, and you're getting nothing for your vote. You were told to your face you're getting nothing for your vote. And you could have just stayed home, because all these other people are getting put in the front of the line, and they never even voted for Joe Biden at all, and they're being put to the front of the line in front of you.
Yeah. Donald had asked, what do you guys think about Kamala not using her married name, period? Well, Mrs. Emhoff, as Judge calls her, it's just prototypical, because she is part, I think it's part of that whole feminist thing. I think it's convenient for her because, remember, you rarely see the husband come out from the beginning anyway. Like, he doesn't say anything, doesn't talk. You don't hear anybody doing interviews with him. He's in the background. And, he essentially, he's the first, I guess you call it a second man, because he's they say the first lady. He's the second man.
Second man.
He's the second man.
Side piece.
Yeah.
He's been emasculated.
Side piece.
Emasculated, yeah. He's the side.
Well,
yeah, I mean, and she's just doing, and she's not going to take his last name. She didn't do it beforehand. They've been married for a couple of years now, more than a few years now. And she only brings him out. She didn't even bring him out, I think, when they got the victory party. And she gave the victory speech. He wasn't on stage, if I remember correctly.
hey, man. I get. She has to beat her husband to get what she get. Okay, I got it. I like that.
Tyree wrote that. She asked no, not her husband. She just said where she's at now. He's saying she slept to the top. That's
Gotcha.
That's what he's trying to say. But okay, so let me move on.
Okay.
I want to talk about this because this is your way in your native New York. I want to talk about someone who's making news right now. Shawn, I'm sure you've heard of this. Kevin versus yo homie, Vanilla Ice 2, Michael Rappaport. Apparently, of course, those that know the story and know what happened is that He leaked, he being Michael Rappaport, leaked a private conversation between himself and Kevin Durant. And Kevin Durant, of course, was had used some what they call homophobic slurs and some derogatory things, and got fined $50,000 by the NBA for this. And I wanted to talk about it with you because he keeps putting his foot in his mouth. He's talking about, yo, what's up, man? No, I forget doing this. Yo, homie, yo, Kevin Durant, seemed like a good guy. We weren't friends, but I'm sorry for that. I'm maybe I shouldn't do this, gone too far. And I want to play the video of he reminds me of the herpes virus that was on Chappelle's show, the herpes puppet. When you look at Michael Rappaport, he's turning into Remy from Higher Learning. Like, he fits that perfectly. But let's play the video. Hold on, let me a second. This was some sucker stuff that he did to KD. And I'm trying to see if I can pull it up. I had it up here earlier. Hold on a second. All right. Yeah, I found it. Okay. This was an appearance he made on First Take. Someone had this on Twitter. And Shawn, I want Shawn to comment because this is your native New Yorker.
Mike, that was my biggest problem, was that you released the DMs. You have to understand, if that's anyone else, if that's Joe Blow, they don't know who Joe Blow is. That's Kevin Durant. In many regards, he's the first or second or third best player in the NBA. You had to know. If I release DM from a girlfriend, they don't care. But if my girlfriend is a celebrity, the shade room, everybody's going to pick that up. Mike, that's just not anybody. That's just not the normal troll that's in your DMs. And second of all, how did you allow this to get to this? The moment it started going sideways, there's no more banter. Now it's time to cease and let it go. I'm going to unfollow him, block him, and keep it moving. Why did you allow it to get to this?
Well, in regards to what you said, Shannon, you said this when you first talked about it. You're 150% right. It shouldn't have got to that point. It should have been blocked and deceased. It should have moved forward. He's Kevin Durant. I'm Michael Rappaport. You know who I am. So, I didn't like it. I don't look at myself as this is the reality. I should look at myself as that, because I am Michael Rappaport. You know who I am. I have been, in the public eye for 30 years. Like I said, I underestimated the power of social media. I underestimated the power of my social media. I didn't appreciate the spitting. I didn't appreciate the threats. And like I said, unless you're saying your wife is beautiful, God bless her, God bless you, you're a lucky man. We're not boys. Like, I don't banter by saying, hey, Skip, when I see you, I'm going to spit on you. And Skip goes, that's funny. Well, I'm going to spit back. And I go, that's not banter. That's not trash talking. That's threatening. So, like I said, it got out of way bigger than I thought.
Mike, why did you just reach out to KD and say, KD, bro, I think you're going to, I say, that's a little bit too far,
Because I'm
KD.
a bitch, yo.
I don't have his number.
No, I'm just saying, you should have, in the DM, instead of going back, like, this, like, hey, KD, I think this took a turn somewhere. It's going to a place that I don't really think it should go, nor do I want it to go. So let's just, hey, let's rein it back in and like, look, you know what, bro? To keep from it before it goes any further, I think what we should do is.
All right. So that's part of that video. And so Rappaport is saying now that he regrets what happened and how this has escalated and gone too far. And, he got fined $50,000 for what happened. But let's be real honest about it. He get fined $50,000 because of curse words. He got fined because he was talking about LGBTQ, the homophobic stuff. Because that's what's running the NBA right now. And relating that all to what's happening, even Shawn in Georgia, how the MLB is moving the games to from Georgia to Colorado, where, if I'm not mistaken, even in that state, they have even more restrictive voting rights laws, even in what this bill in Georgia was. Not that I defend Governor Kemp per se and what they have passed, but you know, it's going to cost. You even said it's going to cost a lot of money for the Black communities in that area. But Shawn, I specifically, I guess, go into this thing with regards to Michael Rappaport.
Well, what happened here is a Black guy was not critically thinking when he was on social media, because when you get on social media and you're dealing with leftists like Michael Rappaport, you have to understand that the game is chess, not checkers. And what these guys try to do is try to bait you into saying things because they talk about how down they are with the Black community, but they're not really down with us. What they're really doing is fishing for information so they can go out here and use it against us. And what he did was he fell for the bait. He took the bait and wound up making up a big scandal, because this is what guys like Michael Rappaport like to do. They like to stir up drama with Black people because in their own communities, they're whack. I mean, Michael Rappaport, he's been played out for years, and none of the white people in the white community want anything to do with him. So he tries to get down with Black people, similar to what Chet Hanks is doing right now. And they use this being down with Black people gimmick to elevate themselves at our expense. And again, a good critical thinking Black person, they're going to look at this and go, I'm not even engaging this guy because it's not even worth my time, because this guy is whack. This guy is lame. He hasn't been relevant for years. I'm not going to engage this clown because he's not really anybody worth dealing with. And he's trying to get some drama started because he is a lame. And you got to watch yourself because these people will set you up. And because this guy didn't understand the game is chess, not checkers, he got played. And that's what happened with this whole Michael Rappaport situation is you had a Black man who just didn't understand that when you're on any media, even social media, you have to watch what you say. You have to watch what you post, because there are a lot of these people watching you and they're looking for somebody to start with, and they're looking for some information so that they can get some attention for themselves at our expense.
Most definitely. Bernard.
I mean, look, man, I don't know why Kevin Durant keep getting these type of situations. I'm just telling you, man. Yeah, I mean, really, Kevin Durant, he's always acting kind of soft to me when it comes to this stuff. Like, don't worry about these guys, man. Like, who is Michael Rappaport to you? And number one, I don't even like the fact that Shannon Sharpe and Skip Bayless even engaged in this clown. But nevertheless, when I saw all the messages, I'm like, okay, what did he say here? And then I started seeing the message they call inflammatory, but this is stuff that I would say some guys on the basketball court if you were just talking trash. So just another PC censorship, cancel culture nonsense. Everybody's so easily triggered. Oh my goodness, somebody said something bad to me. Man, screw Michael Rappaport. Tell Michael Rappaport whatever Cameron Rand told me at DM, that's what Michael Rappaport need to do. He probably that way anyway. Because that won't supposed to release on a screenshot on that stuff, man. Don't no man do no crap like that, okay? Oh. Hey, yeah, you're right. Shannon Sharpe is a butter biscuit, man, at times, isn't he?
Well, Shannon actually, he will say some positive things early on, but sometimes on stuff that he speaks, especially when he talks about OJ, when he'll talk about, Black people have, first off, forget, I guess, historical amnesia when they forget the things that happened in their past. I actually watched that trial and so forth, and Shawn and I, we talked about it last week. There's no way that man did that. And we keep falling for these false narratives and so forth. So I get tired of him doing that and Stephen A. Smith. But he's better than Stephen A. Smith with stuff. But Shannon, Shannon will, I'm glad he has checked some people on their stuff. I'm glad he checked Michael Rappaport here. But I mean, look, they have Michael Rappaport on all the time. I don't know why. But I think he's a podcaster as well. I remember when, he was in that movie Zebra Head, but I remember him from Higher Learning, Bamboozled. He was in that New Edition movie that was on BET about 3 years ago. I remember when he did that. Michael Rappaport isn't, he's a lame. He's a troll. I remember when he attacked Janet Jackson. So screw him. And Kevin Durant really shouldn't have even been messing with him. When you're on social media, especially when you're watched, and like Shannon said, the guy knew what he was doing. So it's nothing new what he was doing. And of course, he went out, he got what he wanted, he got attention to build his brand. He used this black man to build his brand and got exposed for being and basically he's a straight sucker. He's a straight sucker. So nobody should be working with him. Nobody should be talking with him. Word to your mother. So, your dude Michael Rappaport, Sean.
Yep.
He's out.
Known about him for years. He's a clown. I mean, he's washed up. He's finished, and he needs black people to pay attention to him because he can't get anywhere with the white community who already sees him as lame. So you just got to watch yourself when you're dealing with him.
Yeah. All right. Next thing I want to talk about too, I guess we can speak on this too, is Paul Pierce was fired. Since we're talking about sports, for having, he was caught on Instagram Live smoking what looked like a joint, or might have been a Black and Mild cigarette from what I saw, but could have been a joint. And he had some strippers behind him shaking it up. And Disney, who owns ESPN, fired him abruptly, I think the next day as a result of it. And this is in the midst of the busiest, right now, the NBA season is in full gear. And NBA Countdown, I believe, which Paul was a contributor on, he was an analyst for play-by-play. He was actually one of their main stars. So people were, I guess, shocked and surprised that happened. And I think Disney might have been trying to save face with regards to his appearance on there, but also I think it had a lot to do with the fact that they were trying to we talk about this attack on Black masculinity. This is the same ESPN that, remember, they suspended Stephen A. Smith for telling the truth about domestic violence situations and made him apologize like a little girl. I'm sorry, I shouldn't say little girl because that would be disrespectful to the ladies. But basically, they brought this man down. What I should say is they brought this man down to a boy. Basically, when he hung his head and apologized to Michelle Beadle for talking about how women have to be careful. And remember, she violated company policy when she did that and called him out on Twitter. They're not supposed to engage with each other in a negative fashion online on social media. There's a social media policy that they have that they violated. So that's the big fat pot calling the kettle black. You are right, Lamiko. So Sean, you did a live on the video on that live stream that Paul Pierce did. And what's interesting too is Paul Pierce was also offered $250,000 after the result of this, of working with an adult website, $250,000, working with strippers while doing play-by-play analysis for the NBA. What do you think of this, Sean?
Well, I think that this is just the Disney Corporation looking to punish your Paul Pierce for being a heterosexual Black man. And they're using the technicality of him allegedly violating their terms as related to the contract and unprofessional conduct to do this, but it's really about punishing a heterosexual Black man for expressing himself in a heterosexual fashion. Now, many of these ball players, this is what they do in their off time when they were working in the NBA, but it's something that most people don't really want to talk about. So your Paul Pierce, who really doesn't need this job and didn't really care about this job because he's got over $200 million.
Right.
He just did this just because he wanted to have a job, but he was just like, okay, I'm just gonna go out here, do this Instagram live because I've got this money. I am this baller. I'm gonna have this fun like I'm usually used to. And they decided, oh, we don't like this because not because it's reflecting their image, because they've got a lot of stuff on many of their platforms that really presents the exact same thing. I mean, a lot of this media out here. I mean, we recently, again, in the election, booties to the poll with strippers. But when the black man goes out here and he goes out here and has the strippers, that's where they have a problem, because it's about the black man showing that he can has the power and the money to go out here and do this. They don't mind seeing some poor downtrodden kooky in a strip club with a dollar bill trying to get some stripper's attention. But when you have a baller with millions of dollars who can bring the strippers to his home, smoke up in his home and drink up and show and flex his economic muscles, they want to be able to say, we have power over that black man, and we can take away that ability to be that baller from that black man. But that Paul Pierce wasn't even fazed, because again, he's got $200 million from his NBA career, and he's got an offer from an adult web company. So he's not even fazed by Disney, because this is his lifestyle. This is how he balls out. And they're trying to make him into a black brute, because that's what the media loves to do. They love turning black men into the image of sexual predation. They love making us into these wild sexual deviant monsters. And they want to use that as a reason to punish Paul Pierce economically. And they're punishing him for expressing himself as a heterosexual black man. And they're also punishing him for having the audacity to show how much economic power he has.
Yeah. Bernard?
Hey, look, man. Once again, man, this thing, like Shawn said, is a complete joke, man. A joke. Now, I'm sitting there saying, look, man, I've been to Houston, Texas, but I've been knowing about James Harden and guys for years, man. Doing this. What is the big deal, man? I mean, like, I don't go to clubs, but I know the big deal because he's a black man. But first of all, ESPN has no right to be talking moral conscience about women. Just like we talked about Molly Quim and earlier and everybody else, these people, these execs on these boards, have no right to be preaching morality clauses. Oh, this against our policy. When y'all do the same thing, y'all got Paul Pierce just had a little party. Look, y'all got whorehouses, brothels, massage parlors, all this stuff. I'm just trying to.
Marv Albert. Now he's not on ESPN, but I remember when Marv Albert got in trouble back in the '90s for raping some woman.
Okay. Yeah. Well,
he's back on TNT doing NBA analysis. So
it's just a farce, man. But what I'm saying, like, they trying to show Paul Pierce up, but I'm like, I mean, this really was really like, okay, what, you fired him all the time? Because, and then the excuse they used to cover it up was that if it was taken by an outsider, but by he doing it on his own live, that's why they did it. I seriously doubt that. I think they would have got rid of him even if they saw it on the outside.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. So, all right. So next, I think essentially, and this is an article where Michelle Beadle actually, ironically, she tweeted her support for Paul, where she says here, she said right here in response to that, she stated that, I'm looking right here. It says, looks like our cooking and dance show can finally happen. You book the dancers, I'll grab some grub, boom, Emmy. She's always been known for her, what they call her witty sarcasm, but they fired her from ESPN because she couldn't pull in ratings. After that, when she was on NBA Countdown, they thought she was sucking up money. And ESPN, you said the Tony Kornheiser, I remember him. Even not Jason, but Will Barn, he had his issues. Yeah, so ESPN is a joke, man. That's why I stopped watching them a long time ago. But look, how many black-owned sport networks do we have? How many black sports channels do we have? I mean, I would give this brother a job if he wanted it, although he doesn't need it. But that's how we got to be with this stuff. You fall down, get back up. We help you to get up. I have nothing to do with the women that are dancing on that. That's they play automatic videos. Well, let me get out of it. But yeah, you know, corporate media is telling us to support Lil Nas X, and if we don't support that, then we're a hater, we're homophobic. No, the reason why it's like that is, man, we don't like him is because, number one, his music sucks. It's not good. And he's pushing this devil worship shit. A lot of these people, a lot of these, look, these artists that they push now, maybe not all of them, they're pushed out because the record companies, the corporate interests, they like these types of individuals. They push their agenda. It's just like your Demi Lovato. You know, I listened to something Demi Lovato actually said. She said that she was these gender reveal parties are transphobic, and I'm like, what an idiot! This is an idiot. I don't know, and people listen to her. I don't even listen to her music.
I don't listen to her.
I don't listen to Taylor Swift either, because she does the same thing. We need a bunch of Kanye West to interrupt her performances, especially if she tries to perform Earth, Wind, and Fire September. I don't know if y'all heard that. That hurt my ears.
Yeah, they use these low seed, no talent performers to push their deviant agenda. And that's what they're all really are, because they know that the kids will listen to these dysfunctional people.
Kids will listen to that. Kids listen to that.
And
So,
they get brainwashed and indoctrinated into these deviant lifestyles and these satanic narratives. And that's why it's important for adults to speak against this type of stuff and let people know what the real is. Because if your kids get indoctrinated like kids got indoctrinated into gangster rap, we're going to lose another generation of kids, and we're going to lose a lot of kids' souls as a result.
right. So, Shawn,
You know what, Gab? I wanted to ask Gab one thing.
what?
Did we forgot about that thing that happened at the Capitol last week? That psyop they tried to pull off.
Oh, what went on in the Capitol about the black man? I talked about that on my program Tuesday.
He did. It's all right. I just had to think about it. It was on my mind.
Tied to the Nation of Islam. If you want, we could talk real briefly about it. And the Nation has released a statement. They said that he had no ties to the Nation, and they do not like what mainstream media basically, and they do this all the time. I remember when there was an attack on a synagogue about a couple years ago, and somehow or another they tried to tie it to the Nation of Islam or to Minister Farrakhan, which the guy was white, if I'm not mistaken. So what did that have to do with an attack? Not a daggone thing.
Man, let me tell you, man, that was so much BS that happened. Let me tell you something. First of all, you should have known something. First of all, he had braids. That was the fault. That was the thing that should tip you off right there. Then the George Floyd trial ended early that day, and then this happened right after that. All right. Number two, they had all the information they claimed in like 4 hours. Like, then they said, he was a follower of Farrakhan. They wouldn't say he was Nation. They said follower. And then they said he went to a store and bought a $300 knife from an Asian store. I'm like, wait a minute, man. You expect me to believe this garbage y'all putting out here, man? Y'all spewing a whole lot of lies here, man, because something ain't right. How you got all the information in 4 hours, man? You already knew. You're saying the Capitol got a barricade. He just happened to ride through the guy. You say he got stabbed. He didn't get stabbed. He came with a knife. I'd be damned if somebody go all the way to the Capitol with a knife. Come on, man. Really? I mean, they shot Marion Carey at the Capitol. She didn't even get close. So what's the problem? Just blatant hypocrisy and lies, man.
Right. Shawn?
Yeah, when I heard about that incident at the Capitol, I clearly saw it as another incident in the man crisis, and it really had nothing to do with the Nation of Islam. And what some people in the mainstream media wanted to do is try to put this on the Nation of Islam, but the Nation of Islam had nothing to do with this guy. Again, this pandemic had a lot of guys who were isolated for a long time, and this guy, he was already dealing with drug addiction and mental health issues. And he had been isolated for a long time as he was dealing with this drug addiction and mental health issues as related to concussions he got, as related to football. But nobody wants to talk about those aspects as related to this young black man who really wanted to do good in his community, what led to him having these struggles. Nobody wants to talk about those aspects of the narrative. They want to go and try to demonize the Nation of Islam and make them the bad guy. But the nation, again, had nothing to do with this young man having these issues. He was a man in crisis for a considerable long time. If you listen to what his brother had to say and what his family had to say, he was dealing with a lot of issues, but they want to make it about the nation because it's about pushing their narrative. And they want to push narratives because they want to go after these groups like the Nation of Islam because they want to be able to try to find a way to silence the Nation of Islam. But the Nation of Islam, you can't really say that. Even the police said that they couldn't say anything about it because they know that it was really, this guy was just a lone wolf with a mental health problem. So it's just people trying to push narratives and trying to make another black group of black people into a boogeyman so they could push their agenda.
Right, it certainly is. And I mean, they do it all the time. This is their standard MO. It's just I saw something. It's just like what we saw. Well, maybe not exactly like we saw with DeShaun Watson when that white woman made the black man comment, but it was a reach that they just went and did this. Bringing stuff up that just wasn't necessary. Not a family, as I see Butterflies is saying, he was saying to his family that they were poisoning him and doing unauthorized surgeries. I've heard that. That's some things that they have been saying. They're not talking about his mental health issues. And you can read the statement I shared it Tuesday on the Nation's website. The Nation of Islam, let me just say this overall, and I know some Muslim brothers, they have been they are very peaceful people. The ones I know, they are active in the community.
Likewise.
They're active in the community. Back in the 80s when you had the crack epidemic that was going through the black communities, they were the ones, not the black ministers or pastors, but the black Muslims were the ones that were running the drug dealers out in various communities. They didn't tolerate this. So they have done some great things. And I know a great deal of them, likewise, who I'm close friends with, that are morally upstanding individuals. So I do not like the fact that they are trying to mischaracterize the Nation of Islam and tie it to Farrakhan. And I think even those who may not even care for the black Muslims, some of them have said, how did you guys make this reach? And the difference between this guy who was on the Capitol versus this individual versus the individuals we saw up in back on January 6th. Remember, he was killed. They weren't.
Yep.
Well, maybe the female was the only one that was killed, but Noah Green was killed instantly. There is no trial for him. This is how they handle. This is what they call justice when they do this stuff. So be mindful of what's going on. I'm going to wrap it up in a second, but I don't know if I had anything else to add. But we got 30 people in the building. Shout out to all 30 who are watching. My channel keeps growing more and more despite hindrances from YouTube and others. I've gotten BS copyright strikes before on some things, but we keep going and growing. I've gotten complaints. They're even banning people. Let me say this thing about the Navy. They're banning anybody who's friendly to Farrakhan. I had a strike for broadcasting his Savior's Day simulcast last year. And now on Instagram, Facebook announced removing a Farrakhan's Instagram account, which is owned by Facebook. They removed that as well. And I don't think it was his account as much as it was something attributed to him. But nevertheless, this is what we're talking about with censorship that goes on. Censorship is real. And we got to be careful and mindful of it, because when you're going out talking about this stuff and wanting to see certain groups censored and not be able to speak, it could come back to haunt you. So, what's up, Derek Bailey? What's up, man? Good to see you. Y'all drop something in the Cash App now. Y'all see the ticker at the bottom? Hold on. I thought the ticker was on. The ticker, Cash App, Gavin Reshaw Esquire. Google Pay, gavin.grich1@gmail.com. PayPal, gavin.grich1@gmail.com. You guys can also donate to Brother Bernard's channel. Before we get out of here, I wanted Shawn to talk about a little bit, and buy Shawn's new book, John Haynes Taking Care of Business. But I wanted Shawn to talk about what was going on, because you may have left a comment about what happened in Georgia. Very interesting. And I don't like Fox News, but they had this here. But I had heard this myself, but they're taking the MLB All-Star Game out of Georgia, which, of course, Georgia is always big on baseball, home of Hank Aaron, home of the sports museum, college football museum, things of that nature. They're moving it to Colorado. And what I learned is that Colorado's voting laws are similar to Georgia's, despite decision to move Major League Baseball's All-Star Game. And it says here, Major League Baseball announced that they are moving the 2021 All-Star Game out of Georgia in protest of the state's new voting laws. And now is reportedly headed to Colorado, which has some rules that are similar, if not more restrictive. Of course, there have been calls by people to ban, especially Georgia representatives out there, to ban Coca-Cola. They've been fighting against cancel culture. Governor Kemp has been talking about this. What do you think, Shawn, I'm going to lead it with you, about what's going on in Georgia?
Well, what's going on in Georgia is we've got a bunch of people like Stacey Abrams going on emotion about this voting law, which really is not that bad of a voting law. And it's really them retaliating against these people on the right at the harm of many Black people, because Atlanta is a chocolate city, predominantly Black, and it's filled with Black-owned businesses that would have been enriched as related to this event, the All-Star Game. But because people like your Stacey Abrams got caught up in their feelings about their politics, they didn't really think about all of the needs of those Black constituents who they were doing harm to, because all this is them trying to virtue signal as related to dealing with these so-called racist Republicans. And by taking this whole event from Major League Baseball from Atlanta to Colorado, they not only went out here and did harm to all of those Black-owned businesses, they did harm to their own arguments. Now, their arguments were Georgia was racist for implementing these voting laws, but I've heard from one of my viewers who gave me multiple articles telling me about incidents of racism in Colorado, which is a white supremacist state filled with a lot of white supremacists. So you're taking a event from a predominantly Black city to fight racism, and you're taking it to a white supremacist state filled with white supremacists and similar voting laws. And again, this all is about politics and virtue signaling, but the virtue signaling makes them look bad. The people on the left look bad because you're taking away revenue from struggling Black-owned businesses in a Black city. And you're saying you're doing this in order to fight so-called racism that's going on in Georgia as related to voting. But when we look at it, how is this helping all of those struggling Black businesses that would have benefited by taking money away from those Black people, by taking this whole event to a state filled with white supremacists? That's the critical question I want to ask people like Stacey Abrams, who pressed the owners at MLB and the commissioner of MLB to move the All-Star game. How does this help by taking this event away from all of those Black merchants and Black businesses that desperately needed this opportunity to make the living? I mean, a lot of people, this is probably going to be all the money they're going to make for the year, and you denied them. And you took all of that money from those Black people in an effort to virtue signal, and you hurt those Black people. And all you did was enrich a bunch of white supremacists in Colorado, because Colorado is a state, even though it's run by the left, it is filled with white supremacists. And I have the articles that somebody showed me of numerous incidents of people who had dealt with racism in that state. And these stories were horrifying when I read them, because this was about a week ago when I was looking at the mass shooting that took place in Colorado at that supermarket. One of the reasons I believe that we had that shooting was because of the racism that was there. But because the state is run by a left-leaning politician, they took the All-Star game over there and again hurt Black people who were told, oh, this law is so racist. But when you look at all of the terms of the law, there's not really much there as related to discrimination. It's just really about establishing some standards as related to voting, and to make sure that people don't get taken advantage of.
They're basically trying to prevent another finesse of an election.
Yeah.
And look, I thought about this too with the water thing. They're telling, part of the law, they're saying you can't bring people any water. My suggestion to that is bring your own damn water. There's ways you can get around it.
Yeah. I mean, it's not supposed to be the poll worker's job to give you water. The whole thing of the poll worker's job is to make sure that your credentials are there so that you are able and qualified to vote. I mean, if you were really passionate about voting, you're going to bring your own food and your own water. I mean, it's not. I mean, because if you have it where people are giving you these things, they could be considered bribes. And this is just people trying to make something more than what it is.
Right.
Got something to say about this, Sean. I'm glad you said that, brother. Number one, the page is 95. I mean, the bill is 95 pages long. They can vote or whatever I'm voting, right? Now, my thing is with the water, they said that a third-party person cannot bring you water. Okay? But my thing is, look, when are we going to start getting into this thing with we need water, we need strippers, we need this? Look, if you say you did it, you claim you won the election, then just go out and vote. I mean, what's the big deal? But the other point is, and I'm gonna say this because the brother, or this a sister. I live in one of the Caribbean islands named the Commonwealth of Dominica, and right we are voter ID card. Now let's get this straight. What group of people wouldn't need an ID to vote? Well, it can't be you. It can't be Gavin. It can't be me. This would have to be people that's coming into the country illegally voting. So this is what they're really getting mad about, to be honest with you. And this is coming to an end. So sign oil. First of all, Stacey Abrams was a Marxist. She's a leftist. She ain't done nothing for Black folks in Georgia. They gentrifying the city anyway. Number two, they knew it was going to hurt the Black. They didn't want them people to have that business no way in Atlanta. Let's be real. They already told you during the All-Star weekend, don't come down here. So I think they were doing this. I think this was something. I think they wanted to do it for start. They just using it as an excuse because they moved to Colorado. So my thing is, Colorado is 76% white. So why you didn't move it to somewhere with more Black people? Maybe Milwaukee, Chicago, moved to Denver, Colorado. Give me a break.
Detroit.
Yeah, Charlotte.
Look at this. I just saw this, but they said Lori Lightfoot was booed. I just happened to read. I said Lori Lightfoot was booed. I just randomly saw this. She came on the field. Governor J.B. Pritzker and a bunch of people booed her. I know that has not, well, that kind of has something to what we're talking about because we're talking about MLB. But yeah, she was at Guaranteed Rate Field. Chicago White Sox were playing the Kansas City Royals, and people came out to boo her. And when she came out, everybody was booing her because nobody likes her, especially with the restrictions. Yeah, and stuff she's done. But Stacey Abrams, yeah, but you know, Stacey, yeah, I have I don't know her personally, but I just have vibes from Stacey Abrams. She gives me Toronto Burke vibes with a lot of stuff. I don't know, but I think that they push her. They're pushing her now, to be the face of getting black people out to go and vote blindly for the Democratic Party. But it's not working. A lot of black males are not, and some females are not falling for it. And even with the situation that we see now, the situation that we see now, a lot of black people are waking up slowly with regards to these elections. And we see that with the Biden administration and their plans. I think a lot of people are starting to get frustrated by what they have seen so far. But says that there was another workplace shooting in Texas.
Yeah, in Bryan, Texas, or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that earlier, but I'm wondering, is there one right now currently? That's what I was thinking of.
Yeah, that was today.
There was one just today, and I'm doing research on it right now. It's Beaumont, Texas, and 4 people are dead. And it looks like it's over something that happened in a home or some sort of issue. I need to get more details on it. That's why I don't do videos on these subjects all of a sudden, because I still have to do a lot of research to make sure that the facts are straight. But the early report is saying it was over a previous altercation that went on before. And we're seeing, again, a lot of these incidents because as the weather gets warmer and people who haven't had jobs or money, a lot of these people are heated and frustrated. So
yeah, this is in Byron, Texas.
Yeah.
Right. At a Kentmore Cabinets manufacturing facility. Who's shooting people at cabinet manufacturers? All right.
All right. So that's why I need to do research on it. Well, 1 person dead and 5 wounded. So this was looking like, again, another incident of a disgruntled employee might be.
All right. Well, guys, I think we can wrap it up. We've been here hot and heavy for the last 2 hours. Hit that like, share, and subscribe on this live stream, guys. If you have not, please subscribe to this channel. We do this every Thursday. And also donate to the channel at the ticker at the bottom. Before we get out of here, we want to thank our guests for tuning in, for being here, Shawn James and Brother Bernard. You can support Bernard and his Cash App 1919DJ, or you could also subscribe to his YouTube channel, King DJ Johnson. We had Brother Judge Joe Brown on earlier this week too, where they talked about some stuff. And Shawn, you can buy his latest book, John Haynes Taking Care of Business, if it's available on Amazon. Gentlemen, I'll let you have the last word. Do you have anything you want to add?
Go ahead, Shawn. Yeah.
Well, in addition to John Haynes Taking Care of Business, I have another brand new book called ISIS Revenge of the Cyber Goddess, which is available on Amazon this month. And I really want to try to get the sales up for that book. I have 2 pre-orders right now. and a couple of sales, and I want to get the book up to double-digit sales. So I'm going to leave a link to that book in the chat so everybody can go and put in a pre-order for that book and really help get this book's sales up. So, let's see.
All right.
All right.
And Bernard, you had something you want to add?
Yeah. Yeah, I just want to say, Gavin, thanks for bringing me back on. Make sure to keep on doing what you're doing, brother. Y'all have dropping jewels again, man. Like every time you come on, I'm just glad I was on. But yeah, we gotta watch this censorship. There's a website they got going out called I think the Digital Center for Online Hate. They claim it's just about anti-vax content, but it's sure that it got a little bit more to do than that. They just call it the Digital Center for Online Hate. So like I said, I got kingbjmedia.com is the website. I've been posting more articles on there. I'm gonna start posting it under things so they can't censor it, because the censorship they've been doing over the last couple weeks is outrageous. They've been taking people like our brother Dr. Randy Short off and other people off. So we just have to be careful who they going after. Yeah, I heard DMX is dead, brother Ron. Yeah, so they say.
He's dead.
Well, no, what they said is that that's not what's been reported. What they said is that he has no brain activity.
Yeah.
And so right now, and shout out to brother Ron Hurd, We All Be, who's watching as always. Thank you. What they're saying is that there's no activity in his brain, which would mean he's clinically brain dead, which is not a good sign. But you know, it's tragic situation. But you know, a lot of people, I'm seeing different people saying rest in peace. So I'm getting
on Twitter. There's a whole bunch of stuff talking about he's passed.
So it's, well, I don't say anything until
it's confirmed.
Until it's confirmed. But you know, at this point, it looks like if he has no brain activity, then it seems that way. We just wish we send our thoughts and prayers to his family and friends at this time. I'm seeing people saying rest in peace DMX. So I mean, if they took him off life support, then he's dead and he's deceased. Ron is saying that they're saying it on Wikipedia. You know, I don't say anything until it's official until it's official. That's just the thing I do.
It's the best thing to do, because because you have to get the confirmation before you make anything. That's why I had a guy request that I make a DMX video, and I wanted to wait until we got some confirmation on his condition. And if this is the turn, it's a sad thing to happen, because he was one of the great rappers of the 90s, but he had a lot of stuff he was struggling with, and it was just sad to see him pass so young at 50.
Yeah, and I mean, they're mentioning stuff about drug use and so forth. I mean, I don't know if that had a factor. He could have just had a massive heart attack.
Yeah.
You know, that happens. There are people, you know, remember the great Kirby Puckett, who was the baseball player for the Cardinals. He ended up dying of a stroke at 40-something years old. So, I mean, it happens. But
I'm gonna say something about DMX, man. I remember when I was a child, man. I ain't tell you a lie. 5 years running, DMX was one of the hottest guy out at that time, man. It's dark and hell is hot. Rough Ride, he had that stuff, man. DMX was, you know, man, he was great for a while there, man. He had a good run for a while there, man.
Well, I remember too. One of my big things about DMX was when he was they started putting rappers in movies, and he was he wasn't the first rapper to be in a movie, obviously, but I remember like that early 2000s, you know, he was in like Exit Wounds with Steven Seagal. I remember that. I remember him being with Aaliyah in some movies, and
Romeo Must Die.
Romeo Must Die. Yeah, I remember when he did the tribute videos for Aaliyah. I remember, there we go. You know, he was doing mad TV sketches. So as of right now, when I'm looking at it, I'm on Wikipedia. Actually, Ron, they actually do not list his. From what I'm looking at, they don't confirm it. In the it's not confirmed right here. So I'm just waiting. But all I've gotten is as of today, there's been no change in his brain function, and it's a sad situation. And you got to be mindful of what we say because his attorney originally, remember, on April 3rd said that he was taking off life support, but then he clarified that he was still on life support and giving the wrong information. So I don't like saying things until it's officially been confirmed. But yeah, he had a great run. DLX, what you really want? You know, I remember when, let me see if I could find that. I wonder if I get hit with a copyright if I do this, but maybe it's not. But
Ma, it's good to be back, you know what I'm saying? Glad to be home.
it's bad.
I need to talk to you though, you know, because I'm having trouble with women. You know, I know you said don't let these hoes stress me and everything, but it's like all they see is the celebrity, you know what I'm saying? They don't see me, the person that I am, you know what I'm saying? I need help, Ma.
Yo, son, relax. First off, I'm gonna put you up. Like I told you, you need to stop messing with these chicken heads from the top.
See, that's just it, you know what I'm saying? It ain't the chicken heads that I'm sticking when I'm on the road. It's Angie. I can't seem to do nothing to please you, you know what I'm saying?
It's all right, son. It's all right.
I need love.
I need love. What is that? You can start off by acting like a man. Now look, son, I know it's hard out here, but I'm gonna put you up, all right? Don't cry. Have a seat. Now, what you doing to show that you care?
I be telling her I care, you know what I'm saying? I be lacing her with ice. I got a bicycle with 20-inch rims. I got a pit bull puppy, you know what I'm saying? What else can I do?
Son, start up. Yo, slow your roll. The first thing you need to do is show some tenderness, you know what I mean? You're gonna come at these ladies gently. Show her the softer side of her.
But how do I show her the softer side of her?
Son, you gotta start off with romance. Romance is the key. You gotta give her your heart. Your father tried to give me gifts, Boone's Farms and cigarettes, but all I ever really wanted was his heart.
I'm feeling you, Ma.
Huh?
PMD, put me down because I'm listening.
All right, first things first. You gotta get on one knee.
Yeah.
You gotta take her hand. You gotta caress it. You gotta look in her eyes. Look at my eyes, dog. Look at my eyes. Second thing you gotta do is shed that hardcore rapper image. You gotta show her just how soft and sensitive Earl can be. Now you try it. Be rough, dog. Give it to me.
I love you, yo.
Let's get the dog.
Ange, what up?
Hey.
Angie, it's Mama Law. Mama Law, this Angie.
Hey.
How you doing, Angie? Do me a favor. Turn around. Let me see.
I see that thing right there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. All right, now look. I'm gonna go do some things. I'm gonna give y'all some time. All right. Remember what I told you.
Yeah.
Be you. Make Mama proud.
All right.
Hey, baby. So we going to have party tonight?
Stop for a minute. You know, I want to talk to you. 1 minute, you know?
All right. Well, hurry it up because I'm trying to get drunk. Ow!
See, that's just it. I don't think we should go to the party tonight. Why don't we just sit by the fire and hug each other, hold each other? Because I want you to see.
Mad TV better than
Softer
SNL,
side.
at least.
DMX, you crazy. Sit by the fire. You ain't even got no fireplace. Come on, let's go to the party. Let's go.
Tonight, if we go out, you're not going out with DMX. You're going out with Earl.
You tripping.
Oh, you tripping. I don't want to go out with no Earl. I want to go out with a hardcore rapper who can put me in a video. What about what I want? What about my needs? I want to be a hoe. You whack. That's your problem. You whack. You a punk.
Yo, Sade, I know you didn't just call my dog a punk.
Well, he is.
Yo, step back.
I'm
son.
shadow
I'm
banned
about to body
already.
this
I'm banned
bitch.
already,
Oh, no,
Lamika.
you're
I'm black
not.
in America.
Let me tell you something.
They mess with
I'm
my
coming
stuff
back.
already,
When I
man.
do,
So I
I'm
don't
bringing
care.
my mama, and she gonna bust your ass.
Yo, go get the bitch. Yo, son, I apologize. You know what I mean? Some women don't want a real man, they want an image. But you
This
gotta
is
rise
something
above
else,
that
man.
all the time. Be you, no matter what. You know what? I'm glad I got somebody like you to show me what a real woman is. No doubt. Yo, son, I don't know about you, but I'm ready to go in the basement and blaze some trees. Let's do that. Let's go.
Boom! It's on. Boom! Boom! What the hell? What? Boom! What the hell? What? Man, we're praying for you though, DMX. In all seriousness, brother, we love you, and I know it doesn't look good. I'm praying there's a miracle that happens though. But if it is what it is, man, it's a shame that this happened, especially if it is based off of a relapse. Master P even just said that rap needs a union. He said that this could have been prevented. But yeah, man. Man, I hope his money game too was all right, bro. I hope they got that stuff together, because they'll be fighting for decades over his music. You know, his music sales are gonna go up as a result of this. But a lot of these artists, you know, they don't get paid big money. You know, I even saw that some songwriters in Britain are driving Ubers and Lyfts because of situations with their companies dealing with streaming. So that type of stuff goes on. But you know, Butterfly says it's true. I'm waiting till official confirmation once that comes out, man. But again, I'm praying for the brother. So, but guys, I want to thank you for tuning in. This has been a great show. Another edition of Gavin Richard Presents. Well, I'm glad to have these brothers come on. We're gonna do this. We do this on Thursdays, Sundays, and Tuesdays. I'm trying to get some more guests on. You know, I'm having plans to have on some attorney friends of mine, some big names again, that could stop by and do other shows. And join me this Sunday. I'll probably do another live stream. We'll be talking about whatever the hell is going on. But you guys be safe, be blessed. Y'all, please send something to the Cash App at the bottom. Support Brother Shawn James and King Bernard. Gentlemen, thank y'all for joining me this evening.
All right, take your time.
Thank you for having me.
No problem. This has been another edition of Gavin Richard Presents here on channel GBoo 2786 on YouTube, and us also on Facebook. The other YouTube channel we have, Gavin Richard, and on Twitter at GavinRich2786. I got people on there. I'll holla. Peace, family.
You too.